Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving, and now it's Black Friday, so I'm sure everybody's looking for something to think about other than what the best deals are on Amazon. I'm wondering what the best deal is for the Cubs to add an ace to the pitching staff, and I think it might be Sandy Alcantara of the Marlins. And you've heard some guys mention him. I'm going to get into that right here on the show today, so make sure that you like, subscribe, thumbs up. Don't forget about AveD. There we are, Mick Nation. Hit that QR code, be a part of what we're doing. That is our Web3 home for Cubs and talking Cubs every single day. Let's get this party started. Hey everybody, Mick Gillespie, Cubs Baseball Channel, and it is my pleasure to talk to you today about the Cubs. Happy Black Friday, too, if that's a thing. I ate so much turkey and ham yesterday, I'm stuffed. Now I'm wondering what the Cubs are going to do. I know that it's a different Thanksgiving in Canada than it is in the U.S., but they got a Thanksgiving Day gift when they went out and signed one of the best pitchers on the market, and that is former Cubs prospect Dylan Cease, who is one of the most durable arms in baseball. The Jays told everybody in baseball by doing that they expect to be back in the postseason next year. They want to win the World Series. How about the Cubs? What can they do on Black Friday to get somebody to help this team win? And I think the name that all of us are looking at is, well, I don't want to say all of us. I mean, there's other names out there, right? I mean, there's other guys that they could potentially sign as free agents. But coming from the trade aspect, it's Sandy Alcantara, right? Is it a potential deal for the Cubs to make for Sandy Alcantara? Now, you remember at the deadline last year, it was rumored that the Cubs were interested in Alcantara. Now, he was returning from Tommy John surgery, ended up with a 536 earned run average. He had a really slow start to the season, but finished strong. And you know, the primary concern in the scouting reports is the decline in his command and consistency, though his velocity remained good, right? Strong. That happens when you're coming back from Tommy John surgery. It's just the way that it is, right? The sinker fastball comes in at 100 miles an hour. Everybody likes that. Left-hander, he normally sits 97. You got to love it, though. That's the four-seamer and the sinker. His off-speed pitches uses a mid-80s slider, an upper-80s changeup, and a curveball. Mixes those. When he won the Cy Young Award, he was so good at the secondary stuff, right? And he's just got great stuff, naturally good. It's just trying to get all of that back after the surgery, right? And it takes time. Sometimes guys come back from Tommy John, and they're even better eventually. They have more velocity. Their arms are stronger than before they had the surgery, right? You know the Marlins want to get rid of him. Now, the Marlins have a problem with the fact that if they do get rid of him, then they lose the payroll that he's eating up right now, and they're way under the Major League Baseball's where they want to see teams be at payroll-wise. And if you don't spend enough money, you know, then you don't get the money in the way that the deal works, right? But he signed a 5-year, $56 million contract with the Marlins in 21, and that includes a 27 club option at $21 million, right? So he would get $17 million for the season, and then he would get 21 for the 27 season. The Marlins love to get rid of the big contracts, make deals, and bring in guys that they think are going to help them. And they've done this before. They've won World Series doing this, where they get rid of guys, and then they come back in, and then they bring in younger players. They get a haul for a former Cy Young Award winner. And, you know, and that's kind of where you're hearing a lot of these experts say that the Cubs could make their rotation really solid if they were able to get a Sandy Alcantara. And you start to look at the rotation with Justin Steele, Cade Horton, Jamison Tyone. I mean, you know, you got Matthew Boyd. Shota Imanaga. So they have already a pretty good rotation. But when you add that, when you talk about the guys backing up the top of the rotation, it feels really good, that if the Cubs were able to get the 22 NL Cy Young Award winner, and remember, his final 7 starts, he had the 2.83 ERA. It kind of showed you, and that's why you were kind of getting the feeling that maybe they were going to make a move, because you were taking a risk. He was like at the 7s there for a while, ERA wise. He was just not doing very good. But as things started to move on during the season, you could tell that, hey, eventually he was going to get it figured out. So that's where I'm thinking the Cubs could go out and get an impact arm for the rotation, and they're going to have to give up some players. But if they don't want to go out and sign one of these guys for these long-term deals, it's like basically making a trade for a former Cy Young Award winner for 2 years, unless they maybe manipulated the deal some. Now, the other guy on that team that everyone keeps talking about is Edwin Cabrera. And Edwin Cabrera had the 2025 season, came back from a sprained elbow, and was really good. And he's kind of one of those, another Marlins player that they may sell high right now. He had a breakout season, right? Finished the 25 season with a career high 8 wins, a 3.53 ERA, had 150 strikeouts and 137 2/3 innings, 26 starts, right? Was placed on the 15-day IL September with the elbow strain, but then came back and for the final week of the season, had 2 starts, including one that was really good against the Mets that kept them out of the playoffs, that eliminated them. So he's another guy who constantly gets the Marlins may make a deal here, and the Cubs are kind of another team that is mentioned with Cabrera. You get the feel that the Marlins are kind of willing to do some work here with the trades, but is that the direction that the Cubs want to go? And then you're like, okay, well, they didn't get Dylan Cease. I thought that the Cubs would be interested in Cease, but maybe it's Framber Valdez, maybe it's Ranger Suarez, maybe it's Michael King, someone we talked about before, another Padres arm. But I mean, I'm thinking if you look for the potential of a super elite top of the rotation guy, then Alcantara is that guy. Now you're taking the risk with the injuries, but the fact is he's already proven that. And I think that for the Cubs, this would be a really good catch if they were able to make a deal to get him. And I don't want to give up the farm system, but you know what? If you get somebody that comes in and gives you 2 good years, and you really make a run like the Jays did last year, then it's worth it. Making the playoffs to give up your farm team. I don't know. I mean, we'll look back on this Kyle Tucker trade, see what happens there, and kind of have the evaluation of that years down the road. But right now, I look at it and I go, hey, if I'm trying to build a winner, you got to have top end rotation arms, and this guy could potentially be one of them. And who knows? Maybe you don't have to give up a whole lot to get him, but maybe they're just trying to dump payroll. I don't know. There's going to be a lot of competition for him as well. So anyway, that's the show for today. Have a great Black Friday. Get out there and buy everything you can buy for a discount. That's what Black Friday's all about. And we'll talk to you guys tomorrow. So like, subscribe, thumbs up. Thank you for being and hanging out. Go Cubs. Did I forget to mention the Cardinals in this show? I always do that. No, look, I'll say this, Cardinals fans, good to see you guys too. How's your off season going? Maybe I'll start doing like a little report on some of the other teams, kind of see how their things are going with them. Cause I haven't heard a whole lot, except you're trading pitchers away. And that's always like one of those, well, you know what? We're going young. Go Cubs, everybody.